Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and I'm back today with another Sunshine Stamp Co video. I'm going to be using the Just My Type stamp set, one of my favorites, and I am bringing the napkin technique to you guys today. This has been highly requested. I know there are lots of tutorials out there, but my dear internet friend Missy sent me a fun little package of goodies, and she included a handful of beautiful napkins. I've been wanting to try this technique but hadn't found any that would work or that I liked, and she sent great ones. So Missy, if you're watching, please leave in the comments down below where you got this one, because I know people are going to be asking for it because it is beautiful. And so when you're doing this technique, you want to look for napkins that have kind of a not busy background to it. White ideally would be the best, but something kind of light. And here I am separating out the plies, and so I am taking all of the extra layers off, so I just have the printed layer of this napkin. And now this napkin does have those pale stripes in the background, and I'm going to show you how I kind of help that blend into my page. If you use a solid colored napkin or something that's dark, you're going to have a harsh line where the napkin meets your Bible page. And so just keep that in mind. If that's a look you're going for, then fine. But if you're wanting it to look like it is printed on your page, you want something like this that has got a pale background to it, and that's going to help it blend a little better. So I've gone ahead and cut out the piece that I'm going to use. And if you are a perfectionist, this might not be the technique for you. It is a little squirrely at times, and you just kind of have to go with it. To help this blend into the page, I'm going to go ahead and create kind of a rough border around the anchor. You could take a wet paintbrush with clean water and draw a line where you want your tear to be, and that will make it so it tears easy and it won't get unruly on you. But I'm living on the wild side. I'm just going for it. So I'm tearing it dry, and it's fine. I got a little close in some areas, but it was fine. But having this rough edge is going to help it blend even better into the background of my page. And then since it does have the stripe pattern, I decided to take a few of the pieces and kind of scatter them around the page. And this is going to give it a little bit of a mixed media look and just help that texture look like it's peeking through in other areas of my Bible page. When this is dry, you still can feel the texture of the napkin. So just heads up, it doesn't completely melt into the page. You can still kind of feel it. And this napkin did have a border that was kind of raised, and you can still feel that. I'm going to use some Liquitex Matte Gel Medium today. I typically use Dina Wakley Matte Gel Medium, but I'm completely out, and so I picked up this one at Michael's to try. It's not as smooth as the Dina Wakley Matte Gel Medium. It does have a little bit of a tooth to it. Not as bad as the Liquitex Clear Gesso, but that's okay. This actually ended up working great because I went in with watercolors in a minute here, and I feel like watercolors behave a little bit better when you have a toothier medium on the page. So it's just going to kind of be your preference. I haven't tried this with any other mediums. I don't know about Mod Podge or anything like that. I haven't used that in my Bible, so I'm not sure. But this worked just fine. And I'm just getting a really good layer of this down on my Bible page, and then putting that piece of the napkin over the top and kind of smoothing it out. Wrinkles are going to happen. As careful as you are, that's where kind of not being a perfectionist comes into play. You know, I was really careful, really delicate, and there's just still some wrinkling and puckering, and you want to make sure that you have absolutely every bit of that napkin with glue underneath it. Anywhere where it doesn't have glue, it's going to stay dry and it's not going to melt into the page, and you're going to be able to see that. So you do want to make sure you get it completely covered. And then I just gently go over the top of it to make sure it's stuck down, but don't mess with it too much at this point because that napkin's now wet and it's going to have a tendency to tear. So I'm just kind of getting it stuck to the page, sticking it down there, and then brushing it over the top. And I am wanting to get this matte gel medium all over the page, even the places where I'm not sticking the napkin down, because if I only apply it to certain areas, the page is going to pucker really bad because some areas are going to be wet and some areas are not. So in the end, the entire page gets covered in matte gel medium. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in a few of those pieces, and then I do go ahead and dry this portion once I've got everything kind of covered with a light coat. And there are some brush strokes because I'm using a brush, but you know, there's already texture on the page. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to add paint, so it's fine. So I'll go ahead and just make sure everything has been covered with at least one layer. I'm going to dry this, completely, and then I'm going to go over the entire page with a second layer of this, and this is what's going to seal in this napkin. And so everything is covered in matte gel medium. It's completely adhered down to the page. At this point, basically your page is prepped, so any mediums that you put over the top of this shouldn't bleed through. So I can stamp with VersaFine Onyx Black ink, it's fine. I can use whatever paints I want, it's fine, and that all works. And I didn't mention, I'm working in Hebrews 6:19. We have this hope as an anchor for our soul. Definitely go in and study that passage. It's a great passage. I'm going to add some watercolors to this page. So I pulled out my Illustrated Faith watercolors. These are new to me, and the more I use them, the more I love them. I love how they behaved over matte gel medium. I typically hate watercolor on any kind of page prep, but these worked really well. I was quite surprised. So I'm kind of mixing a color to go along with the color that's already on the page, and I did spray my page wet, so I'm just going to do a really loose background here with some blues and greens, and this is just going to further help that napkin meld into the page. Now, I know a lot of people say that if you do this correctly, you can still read the text. I was extremely careful. I've watched 50 billion videos on this technique, and I still can't see the words at the bottom of the page there where the dark part of that napkin covered it up. So I think it's just going to depend on the napkin, the colors in the napkin, the thickness of the napkin. So just heads up on that. Beware that it could cover the text. So I'm not concerned about it. It is what it is. It's fine. I can read somewhere else. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the words using the Just My Type set. I love those. I've also pulled out this wood set from Michaels. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. It pairs really well with the stamp set from Sonshine Stamp Co. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down. I had a few oopses along the way. While I was filming this, I filmed on my phone. My husband called and it stopped my filming, so that started a mess. He was calling me to tell me to go outside and take the trash out, and so while he was at work. And if you haven't been following me on Instagram, do so. Go over there. You kind of get to see the behind the scenes. Here's one of my mess ups. I stamped the wrong thing. But anyways, we have a fire that is growing and growing very close to us here in California, and I walked outside to take the trash and looked up behind us and could see the fire was getting even closer. And so it's still about 4 miles away from us, but it's just a little tense. And so I walked back in and was just kind of flustered. I was mad that I had to take the trash because the kids couldn't do it. It was too heavy. It was just a mess. And here I messed up, stamped the wrong thing, had to smudge it out. At this point, like, I can't go back. I can't redo this page, so I'm trying to just power through it so that I have a video, and I'm really getting frustrated. I'm not loving how it's looking. It's one of those moments. Lots of things going on. And so I'm just powering through, stamping everything. And then I go ahead and decide, well, let's put black splatters because that'll help my black smudges tie in. And you know what? In the end, I absolutely love this page. I love just the powering through and the beauty that came out of it, the message that it's talking about. So if you're having one of those moments where you're not loving it, keep going, stick with it till the end, and you might be surprised. I absolutely love how this page came out. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down in the comments down below. Be sure to check the description bar. There'll be links to the blog, links to Sonshine Stamp Co. where you can get that stamp set for yourself as well as many others. And subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.